Ahoy, this is Zdenka. In today's video, I am bringing you an in-depth guide to the DJI Osmo 360. We'll go through the full setup, camera settings, shooting modes, and real-world tips so you can get the best possible results from the camera, whether you are a beginner or already familiar with 360 degrees filming. This video is not sponsored. The first obvious step is charging. You can charge the battery directly in the camera. Let's just place the battery in. One thing to mention is that the camera has 105 gigabytes built-in storage. However, if you need more storage, here is where you can insert a micro SD card. It's recommended to use a USB-C charger that supports PD or PPS. Here is where you can attach the charging cable, and the screen will show you the charging progress. Another option is to charge the batteries via battery case. When you insert the batteries and press the status button once or open the lid, it will tell you what a battery level is. Solid red means 0 to 20% battery life, solid yellow is 20 to 80%, and 80 to 100% is solid green. Once you start charging the batteries, the battery with the highest power level will be charged first. When the battery is fully charged or fully discharged, the light will be off. I also want to point out that when you open the lid, there are two slots where you can store micro SD cards. The battery case lets you also charge external devices, such as your smartphone. When charging external devices, the battery with the lowest power level will be discharged first. Before you start using the camera, you have to first activate it via DJI Mimo app. Make sure Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are enabled on your smartphone. Open up DJI Mimo, tap the camera icon, and just follow all steps. If you have problems connecting the camera, check if Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are enabled, and check if you have the latest version of the DJI Mimo app. If that still doesn't help, swipe down on the camera, go to Settings, Wireless Connection, and Reset Connection. Then try again. Once you connect the camera, if you see a prompt to update the firmware, just follow the steps, don't skip that. Firmware updates come in regularly, so it's a good idea to check once in a while. How do you attach the selfie stick? First of all, there is 1/4-inch port, so you can screw in the selfie stick directly, or you can use an adapter mount. It is magnetic, so it's much easier to align. Just push in. If you want to detach it, press the side buttons to unlock, and then remove. There are only 3 buttons on this camera, but they have multiple functions, so let's explain them. When you press and hold the power button, you will turn the camera on or off. When the camera is on, if you press the power button, you will enter Quick Switch Mode. Press again to switch between preset shooting modes. Those can be modified in the Quick Switch page. To get there, tap those 3 dots at the top right corner. First, you can turn off the voice prompt, and then you can enable any of the shooting modes you want to have on the Quick Switch page. Let's return to the default Live View screen preview. When you go to Filming Modes at the bottom left, the power button will also let you go through these modes when you press it once. If you are on any other page, when you press once, it will take you back to Live View. Let's move on to the left button, which is the Shutter Record button. Very simply, press to take a photo, record a video, or stop recording. It can do more though. When the camera is off, press the button once. The camera will turn on and automatically start recording. This is called snapshot mode. To stop recording, press once again, and after 3 seconds, the camera will shut off. By default, snapshot will use the last panoramic mode used. This can be modified in the settings. Swipe down, go to Settings, and hit Snapshot. Here are all modes available for the shutter button. You can change it from the last panoramic mode to panoramic video, Supernight, or Hyperlapse. The last button to cover is the function button on the right. When the camera is on, press once to switch between front and rear view or lenses. When you are in panoramic mode, press twice to recenter the view. This button can also work with snapshot mode, just like the shutter button. By default, it's not enabled, so you need to go to settings to turn it on. Swipe down, go to settings, snapshot, and scroll down to get to the function button. Once you enable this, you can choose what filming mode you want to assign. So the shutter button can take you to the last filming mode, and the function button can take you to a different mode you select in snapshot. The buttons have been covered. Let's explain the status LED light. When the light is solid green, it's ready for shooting. When taking photo, the light will turn off and then go back to green. When recording a video or taking a countdown photo, the light will blink red. When the camera is at low power or you are turning the camera on and off, the red light will blink 3 times. And during firmware update, the light will blink red and green alternately. Do me a favor, if you are getting a value out of this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing, as it really helps the algorithm and me being able to make more videos like these. Thank you very much for your support. I am currently in Panoramic 360 video. I'm going to explain all 360 modes first, and then I'm gonna move to single lens modes. What you see on the screen is camera storage capacity, playback, shooting modes, resolution, frame rate parameters, battery level. This icon takes you to image and audio settings, and the last one lets you switch between front and rear view. When you drag the screen, you can select the view you want. If you want to recenter, tap this icon at the bottom right. Let's tap to pull out resolution and frame rate settings. You can film in up to 8K resolution, and 30 frames per second is the recommended frame rate. You can also film in up to 50 frames per second. Let's tap on this icon at the top left corner. By default, video mode is set. You can also enable pre-recording and loop recording. When you enable pre-recording, the camera will pre-record footage within the set time duration. Once you press the record button, the camera will save the latest pre-recorded footage before pressing the record button and keep recording. This can help to capture highlights. Loop recording will overwrite older footage with new footage at the selected time interval. This saves a lot of storage if you use the camera for driving, for example. This icon on the right takes you to the field of view. Dewarp is the standard field of view. There is no distortion, all lines are straight. Other options are wide and ultra wide. I will keep it on wide. Let's go back and swipe down to get back to the main screen. All the settings are always displayed here at the bottom. Let's go to the image and audio settings. These are basic settings. If you hit Pro, it will take you to advanced settings. Let's start with the basic settings first. The stabilization scenario has 3 options. Daily is for vlogging, walking, and where there is not too much movement. I'm using DJI microphone for better audio. The angle right now I selected is wide, so this is the view you're going to get. Let me just show you how the lake looks like. It's frozen solid. Anti-flicker priority is next in case you need to reduce flicker. The last one is anti-motion blur. That one is used for low light or fast action. If you use it in low light, the image might be darker. Let's set it back to daily. What is endurance mode? It is a battery saving feature that significantly extends recording time by lowering video quality settings like bitrate to standard or color depth to 8-bit. so use it only if you really need to extend the battery life. I'll keep it off. Film tone has quite a nice selection of different looks: pristine and cool tones, classic negative film type, pleasing skin tones, vibrant colors, cinematic look, and amber tinted tones. There is an explanation of what each tone is suitable for. Let's bring it back to none. Image adjustments take you to texture and noise reduction settings. I personally like to keep texture at -2 and noise reduction at -1 in good light and -2 in lower light. Let's explain the Pro image and audio controls. Let's start with exposure. When you film in automatic mode, you control EV and ISO range. On very bright days, I usually like to bring the exposure value down a little bit to -0.3 or -0.7. By default, the ISO range is set to 100 to 12,800. If you want to limit the ISO range to ensure there is no grain, as the higher the ISO, the higher the grain you might get, you can lower it all the way to 100 to 800. If you want to film in manual mode, you can enable it here. There are two things you can control: shutter speed and ISO. It's very simple to set it up. I am filming at 30 frames per second, so I will double the shutter speed. 30 times 2 is 60, so it's 1/60th. Then I will lower the ISO to the lowest number possible, which is 100 for daytime. For filming on a bright sunny day, you will need to use ND filters. I've got here Freewell ND16 and 32. I'm gonna link them below. To place them on, you have to align them from the bottom and then push up until it clicks. The next thing you need to do is swipe down to get to camera settings, swipe left to go to the second page, and enable transparent lens protectors. It will correct the distortion and lens stitching caused by the added lens. Once you check the image, if you find that it is a bit too dark, you can bring the ISO a bit to get the perfect exposure. Another setting you want to adjust is white balance. By default, it's set to automatic. For filming outdoors on a bright sunny day, I'll go with 5600 Kelvin. Here's the difference between filming in automatic mode and manual mode. Let's explain the color settings. The default is normal 10-bit color profile. If you want to capture more dynamic range and color data and want to color grade the footage in a post, select D-Log M 10-bit color profile. The image will be very washed out, but you can enable data recovery so you can see the footage normally in the preview. DJI has Rec 709 conversion LUT available, so you can use that in a post to get the color corrected look. I'll link it below. The rest of the controls, stabilization scenario, film tone, endurance mode, and image adjustments, I already explained in the non-pro settings. They are all here as well. Let's go to audio settings. Here you can switch between stereo and mono and change the level of wind noise reduction. The default is standard. Other options are off, smart, and high. All these settings I explained are the same in all other filming modes. What are the best settings for general cinematic footage? Let's quickly summarize them. For the best reframing flexibility, film in 8K, select 24 or 30 frames per second for a cinematic look. 50 frames per second is recommended for smoother motion or slow-mo. Absolutely film in Pro mode for full control. Set color profiles to D-Log M10-bit with color recovery enabled for preview. Set texture to -2, reduction to -1 for a natural look, and keep anti-motion blur off. Let's leave panoramic video and go to the next mode. which is Panoramic Photo. Let's pull out resolution. You can take photos in 30 megapixels or 120 megapixels. HDR is available only in 30 megapixels. It is a good idea to enable longer timer, so you have time to move the camera to the position you want before it takes the shot. Image settings let you control exposure, where you can take photos in manual mode, and you can also select your custom white balance. This was all explained earlier. Moving on to the next mode, which is Supernight. As the name suggests, this is the mode you want to use if you are going to be filming at night. The highest resolution available is 8K, and you can film in 24, 25, or 30 frames per second. Let's pull out image controls. You can film in manual mode, adjust white balance, choose stabilization scenario, and adjust texture and noise reduction. You can only film in a normal color profile. When you film in manual mode at night, you don't need the ND filters, as it is very dark. You will be bringing the ISO up. Selfie mode is next. First of all, when you film in a selfie mode, you have to hold the camera this way, so the selfie stick is straight, parallel with the ground. The highest resolution is 4K, and you can film in up to 60 frames per second. All image and audio settings are the same as in panoramic video mode. Vortex mode requires an Osmo Vortex rotating handle accessory. When you film in 4K, you will get 240 frames per second slow motion. 6K resolution gives you options to film in 100 or 120 frames per second. You can film in manual mode. You can select custom white balance, color, texture, and noise reduction. Timelapse is the last 360 filming mode. Let's pull out the resolution settings, as this is where everything is set. Timelapses can be filmed at 8K 25 or 30 frames per second. Let's start with hyperlapse. Hyperlapse is on the go. You will be moving, walking, riding, or driving. You can leave it on auto or select desired speed. Speeds 2 times or 5 times are good for walking, hiking, and scenes where you want to retain some of the action while speeding it up slightly. 5 times or 10 times is used for active movement, such as cycling or driving through the city. 15 times and 30 times are used for fast action, such as fast-moving traffic. Let's switch to time-lapse. Here we have 2 scenes that you can use. One is clouds, and the second one is sunset. Or you can set your custom parameters. To get to them, let's swipe up. You can set the interval and duration. For faster-moving scenes, you select a shorter interval, and for slower-moving scenes, you select a higher interval. Let's say I will go with 3 seconds, and I want the video duration to be at least 10 seconds, so I will select 20 minutes duration. The moon icon takes you to screen settings. It's better to keep the screen off while it records a time-lapse, as it does save battery life. If you want to see the screen, however, you can enable always display. When you're filming in a 360 panoramic mode, you just have your selfie stick extended like this. It's erased in a post. Let's switch it to a single lens. The first mode to cover is the photo in a single lens mode. The selfie stick remains in the frame, and you have to press the button to position the camera towards you like this. Let's go to aspect ratio. When you select 12 megapixels, the photo will have a standard aspect ratio. When you select 20 megapixels, it will be wide. And when you select 30 megapixels, you will get ultra-wide aspect ratio. Countdown can be enabled there as well. Let's go to Image Adjustments. You can take a photo in manual mode. You can select Custom White Balance. And mainly, you can take photo in JPEG or JPEG plus RAW if you want higher quality. Let's leave photo mode and move to boost video. This mode will give you a very high picture quality, an ultra-wide 170 degrees field of view. The highest resolution you will get here is 4K in 16:9, 9:16, and 4:3 aspect ratio. You can film at up to 120 frames per second. Let's go to stabilization. There are 3 options: off, rock steady, or horizon steady. Image and audio adjustments have the same options as in other video modes. Supernight is the next mode. Here you can film in 24 or 30 frames per second in up to 4K 16:9 or 4:3 aspect ratio. All other settings are the same. When it comes to image adjustments, you can only film in normal 10-bit color profile. The last mode with a single lens is video. Let's go to resolution settings. The highest resolution available is 5K in 16:9 or 4:3 aspect ratio. 5K will give you more details in the image, and it's great for reframing and cropping as you have more real estate to work with. The highest frame rate offered is 60 frames per second. On the top left, I already explained video modes earlier, but on the right are stabilization settings. Let's go there. By default, rock steady stabilization is enabled, which gives you 12mm equivalent focal length. When you turn off stabilization, you will get a wider look. The equivalent focal length will be 8mm. On the right again, you have the field of view, standard dewarp, wide, and ultra wide. Let's close this. Color and audio settings again are the same in all modes. Let's swipe down and cover all camera control settings. The first icon takes you to save the current settings. When you tap that, you can save it as it is, or you can also select a specific scene. Once you do that, it will be shown right here when you press the power button, which is the quick switch button. You can see that this custom mode has been added here. You can switch between these modes. If you want to delete the custom mode, pull down to get to settings. Locate the custom mode and simply hit delete. Quick switch button settings are next. I already explained that in the buttons section. This is just another way to get there. If you have a DJI wireless microphone, you can connect it there. You can connect up to 2 microphones. It's very simple to link it. Just enable pairing mode on the transmitter and follow all steps on the screen. You can also use the transmitter to control the camera to start and stop recording. Let's tap the next icon that takes us to settings. Snapshot is where you can turn it off or customize the shutter button and function button to work as snapshot. When you are recording, the screen will turn off after 1 minute by default. If you want to save even more battery, you can lower it all the way to 3 seconds. You can also extend the time or enable never turn off. If you want to protect your privacy, you can enable album password. Auto power off is set by default to 5 minutes. You can change it to a shorter or longer time here, or you can turn it off. You can disable always on display and LED light. Bitrate is set to standard by default. I'm going to change it to high for better quality. You can turn on grid here, diagonal, or grid and diagonal for better composition. USB mode is for connecting your camera to a computer via Type-C to Type-C cable. This is how you transfer the files to your computer. On a smartphone, you would just connect the camera via Wi-Fi in the DJI Mimo app. Built-in mic audio backup is a great feature. If you will be using external microphone, you can enable this to have another audio file in case something goes wrong. Just a note, as it says here, it's not supported in pre-recording, time-lapse, and hyperlapse modes. Livestream is available through the DJI Mimo app. Here is where you can continue the last live stream. If you have Bluetooth remote controller, you can connect it here. Wireless connection settings are here. Naming management, where you can customize folder name and file name. If you need to calibrate the horizon, this is where you can do that. Select preferred language, change date and time, factory reset, check device, and compliance info. Let's leave the settings. Orientation lock is enabled by default. You can turn it off if you wish to. Screen lock is another great feature. Once you enable this, you won't accidentally change settings by touching the screen. To unlock the screen, just swipe up. Editing Assistant is another helpful feature. When this is enabled, tap once on the subject in the DJI Mimo app to lock focus and quickly compose a shot. Just be aware that this will use more battery. Gesture control lets you start or stop recording with a palm gesture. Let's go back and swipe left to get to the next page. Lens protection mode I have explained earlier. You have to enable these if you are using lens protection glass or ND filters. When you enable voice control, you can say any of these commands to control the camera. Timer shooting is for video recording. When you enable this, you can choose filming mode, what time the recording should start, how long and how many times it should repeat. Twist shot I like a lot. When you don't want to disturb people around you, when you twist the selfie stick twice, the camera will take a photo or start recording. The next icon will take you to where you can connect wireless earbuds. Screen brightness is next, storage space, and you can select where you want to record the footage, whether internal or external SD card. To format the cards, go to storage. Sound is the last setting. Here you can adjust the sounds. I personally have it on mute. I don't need the camera sounds. Give it a thumbs up if you found this video helpful. The next DJI Osmo 360 videos will cover editing in DJI Mimo app and also on desktop. So don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. Once the videos are out, I'm gonna link them below in the comments and also video description. Meanwhile, I'll see you in one of those videos next. Ciao, ahoy!